thing I know about you is that you have ambition to be great. My job is to coach you to get all that greatness out of you.
What's good, Fin Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason, and we are back here for another one on this Thursday, June 18th evening. I hope everyone is being fantastic. Please smash the like button as you sit in the room or enter the room. I appreciate it. Subscribe if you are new. We're closing in on, we're under 800 away from 9,000, and we're just over 1,700 away from 10,000. So, man, let's get there. Let's get there. Share, like, subscribe. Do what you can to help your brother Reason out. I hope everyone is having a fantastic Thursday evening. I hope everyone is good. We got a bunch to talk about tonight. Didn't think we'd have this much, but we got this much. I want to talk about Omar Kelly's comments on Big O Show today, because unbelievable. And this is coming from someone who actually respects Omar. I know a lot of people don't like or respect Omar, but I actually do. And when I heard what I heard today, I was like, are you for real? On top of that, I want to get into what Chase Edmonds had to say regarding Tua Tagovailoa. And basically, this is a player coming into the circumstance, and hearing what he said about the last 2 years and Tua's situation, it was very eye-opening for me, because this is someone who he's came in, he's talked to the people in the locker room, he's heard what went down, he knows what went down, and to hear him speak candidly kind of about that was it's only a 25-second, 30-second clip. We're going to play and we're going to talk about it. Also, from the Moving the Chains podcast on SiriusXM Radio, they talked about the Dolphins in good length, and I actually want to play that portion because they said a lot of good things, a lot of smart, well thought out things, and it was actually one of the better media Dolphin segments I've heard recently. So I wanted to show you guys that as well. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes finally, he responded a little bit to Tyreek Hill. We'll talk about that. And then on top of that, on the Ross Tucker podcast, Greg Cosell recently talked about our draft class, and everyone knows Greg Cosell, one of the better people out there breaking down film. And he not only talked about our draft class, but he also talked about Tyreek Hill and the Miami Dolphins and what he sees Tyreek Hill being in this Miami Dolphins offense. So I want to talk about that. So we got a lot of stuff to go over, man. Appreciate all of you for coming out. I see, Steve-O. Oh, we got a donation here. The Watch Mister donates $4.99. Said, been a while. Hope you're well. Fins up Reason. Hope you're well, Watch Mister. Hope you're doing good, man. Haven't seen you in a minute. Hope everything's well at home and with everything, man. Duke's here. Wooback's here. The homie Memes here. Sorry. Shout out to Robert, Ernesto, Justin, Mr. CHR, Joseph, Kenny, Richie Rich. Shout out to Fins Up, Juice, Dolphin, Don, of course, Jason, he's always here. Raul, Stevie TV, Michael Pulisic, the homie, Todd Labruto, the homie, Rome Gray, Robert King, Jim McEwen, Alan, Miss McGodavaloa, Mike, True Seeker Chris, what's going on? I hope everyone's doing fantastic, man. Hope everyone's good. So yeah, we got some stuff to go over here. It's kind of crazy to me that, because I decided to run with this because the overreaction I was seeing on they're coming for Omar's neck on social media right now. They are coming for Omar. What up, Topher? They are coming for Omar right now, heavy on these Twitter streets. And so I'm gonna play the clip for you guys. And I got someone actually took the time and wrote out the quote. So I even got the quote for y'all written out, so we can. It's just, Tyreek Hill comes out here and says to his 10 Matt Moores, and we're even having this conversation. It's a bad take. And I like Omar Kelly. I respect Omar Kelly. But we all have bad takes. I mean, my bad take, what did I say about Jamar Chase? Jamar Chase ended up being a bad take. Even though I had him as wide receiver 4, that was a bad take. Right? I was pretty hard on Jamar Chase, and it was a bad take. I can admit my bad. They're very few and far between. Let's get that straight. But I can admit when I do have bad takes. Jamar Chase was a bad take. Donation from Mems Salanoa. I believe that's Oos Mems. He says, Oos reason the big kahuna, keep up the awesome shows. Appreciate you, Mems. Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you, my guy. Irving says Omar Kelly's known for many bad takes. Hey, that's between him, y'all, and God. That ain't between me, bro. I don't know what to say. See, here's the thing. What people need to realize too is, as content creators, as writers, reporters, whatever, the one thing we do is we put ourselves out there, susceptible to criticism by putting our takes out on wax, by putting the receipts out there. We open ourselves up to criticism, right? We just do. You open yourself up to criticism just the same way you open yourself up to people appreciating, agreeing, or liking with your takes. It works both ways. It happens to everyone. You know what I mean? So, I say this all the time. Dougley's like arguably the nicest guy in this community, and there's people out there that hate Dougley. All right. So it just is what it is, right? This is how it works. So, can't please everyone. The old adage, you just can't please everyone. But now we're getting to a point where, see, here's the reason why it's a bad take and it shouldn't have been said. Because of what Tyreek said, right? Because of what Tyreek had already said on his podcast. And we'll talk about it, man. We'll talk about it. But, people need to realize, we really put ourselves out there. By putting our opinions out there, we put ourselves out there. And we open ourselves to criticism from you guys in the comments, the viewers who aren't in the comments just viewing, the people who watch after the fact that the stuff's uploaded. That's just the nature of the business, and that's the reality of what we do. You know what I mean? And that's why you got to be built for it. Like, there's a lot of people that, I tell EM all the time, stop reading the comments, man. It is what it is. There's platforms I'm going to go to, and there's going to be nothing but people spewing hate in the comments at me. I don't read the comments like that. I don't care. You know why? Because at the end of the day, I know what I'm talking about. I'm okay with my takes. That's why I put them out there. And really, at the end of the day, other than my subs and the people who actually appreciate my content, as well as my friends and my own family, I could care less what people on the internet who don't like me have to say. I really could. And, I took that, I used to be the guy sitting on Twitter arguing with dudes for hours. And I looked at myself and I'm like, they're not worth that time. That time could be better spent either creating content for you guys or spent with my wife or spent with my kids. Why waste time on people that don't matter? And that's what I've taken. And I know Omar has been really active on Twitter lately, responding to a lot of people. It's not worth it, man. It's the same reason of why I block people on Twitter. Listen, if you don't like me or you don't agree with me, that's one thing. But if people are going to attack you and constantly come for you, bro, and I got the ability to block that and stop that from happening, yes, I will take that. And people got weird energy out here. They wear it like badges of honor. They either wear it like a badge of honor or they complain. Like, it's really weird. Like, I've seen it with Omar Kelly. There's people who have, in their bio on Twitter, blocked by Omar Kelly on blah, 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 blah. Like, bro, is that really good? Like, is that really a positive to be blocked by someone in the Dolphins media? I've gotten a war with a lot of people here on Twitter, but I've never been blocked by someone in Dolphins media, at least yet. That matters. So, because at the end of the day, man, like, is it worth it? So, and that's it, a lot, Twitter and YouTube comments and all this stuff gives people, all of a sudden they're tough. They'll say things they'll never say in person. I've had people create Twitter accounts attacking me and my wife, like talking crap about my wife. You know what I mean? Like, literally creating Twitter accounts just to talk crap about me and just to speak on my wife and wearing I'm gonna keep it a buck. If we were face to face, you said anything about my wife, I'll end you. Period. It's over. I hope you said goodbye to everyone you love, because if you say something like what these people say about my wife on these things, I will end you if we're face to face. Period. So, but people get on Twitter and they get the Twitter fingers, and all of a sudden they're tough guys, man. And you see it all the time. So that's why I don't even engage with that jazz, bro. Just keep away from it. And I try to tell Yem this, it's gonna, no matter what, there's always gonna be someone out there that doesn't like what you have to say, doesn't appreciate what you have to say, that doesn't respect what you have to say. And that's fine. But it's how they go about those things that determines whether or not they're even worth engaging in. And that's how I look at it. Like, I'm not the type of guy where if you continuously pester me on social media, you're going to get a response out of me. I'm like just flat out going to ignore you. Right? That's just it. So the keyboard warriors, the Twitter fingers, the Twitter tough guys, I ain't got no time for it, because at the end of the day, what you see on screen, what you see me type out wherever, that's exactly who I am when I'd be toe to toe with a friend, a fan of the show, whatever the case may be. In real time, this is what you get. This is not a gimmick. This is not a show. None of that. So this is just me trying to inform Dolphin fans, and on top of it, I don't take crap. So I've always been that way. I'll always be that way. And I think, it rubs people the wrong way, but I think a lot of people appreciate it too, man. I'm not over here to be some pushover, especially by people who don't know what they're talking about and such, right? So it is what it is, man. Enough of this rant. We're getting on a negative note right now. Jeez. Omar Kelly, why you got to take me down this rabbit hole, bro? Why you got to taking down the rabbit hole? Shit. You know what I mean? Appreciate you. Bring this up. Appreciate you, DVUS Reaper. He says, I don't comment a lot, but I respect the hell out of you and Dougley Do Wrong. Great content. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. Speaking of content, Verone McKinley film study will be coming. The issue is, because of all these things that have come up, I'm about to hit episode 500. The next episode is episode 500. So I'm trying to see if I can make something work for episode 500. I'm not just going to do a normal show in a Verone McKinley prospect preview. So looks like episode 501 will be the Verone McKinley prospect preview. Then I'm probably going to switch gears and get off the prospect previews. I want to get into Tyreek Hill. So I'm going to do Tyreek Hill right after I do Verone McKinley. And then I'm either going to go back to Zacondre White and then do Jalen Waddle, or vice versa. But those are the next four. Prospect preview on Jalen Waddle, prospect preview on Zacondre White, and then film study about Tyreek Hill, how he'll fit in this offense, Jalen Waddle's 2021 season. And then after all of that, I'm most likely going to drop a McDaniel offense film study on how a lot of the things he ran in San Fran are going to correlate with what we're going to do potentially offensively in Miami, right? It's going to be taking kind of a look at the offense, because I got access to the Shanahan playbook in Atlanta, and I also got access to their playbook in San Francisco. So we're going to kind of look at the offense and what we can kind of expect from the offense under Mike McDaniel, and that's going to be a film study, right? So because there's going to be a lot of film involved. So that's the content you can expect before we hit training camp. So I'm going to do Verone McKinley and Tyreek Hill after episode 500. So 501 should be Verone McKinley. And I'm working on something, a couple things, trying to pull some strings for episode 500. We'll see if it happens. I mean, if it doesn't happen, should happen after 500. So hopefully I can make that happen. I'm just literally going to sit here and wait to see if this stuff happens, and then if I can lock it in, then I'll lock in episode 500. All right. Let's get into what went down today. Let's first talk about this Omar Kelly stuff, and then we'll get into Chase Edmonds, and then we'll go for there, okay? And guys, if you're new to the channel, you've never seen film studies, I did prospect previews last year. Jared Dokes, Jalen Phillips, Javon Holland, Liam Eichenberg, everyone. I've broken down every single Tua Tagovailoa snap of his NFL career has been broken down on this channel. We call it Tua Tuesdays. Again, some of you guys, we've grown immensely since the season ended. So in case some of y'all don't know, now y'all know. So film study, I mean, this was Phinside the NFL was the pioneer in the Dolphins YouTube community. This was the first Dolphin centric channel doing film studies. So we take them seriously over here. All right. Let's get into this. Let's open up. And again, like I said, we'll open up. I'll play the clip for you guys, and then I'll pull the quote up so we can just sit with the quote. But this is what Omar Kelly had to say today.
Same teams and exact same teams and put Matt Moore on the field versus Tua, I'm probably going to go with Matt Moore.
One more time.
If you give me the same teams and put exact same teams and put Matt Moore on the field versus Tua, I'm probably going to go with Matt Moore.
Hey, Big O, you can keep that exclusive take, bro. I don't need that on this channel, bro. Woo! Okay, let's put it up here so we can, this is just, I mean, what are we doing here, Omar? So this is what Omar said. If you guys give me the same teams, the exact same teams, and you put Matt Moore and Tua on the field, I'm probably going to go with Matt Moore. I mean, this begs the question, what has Matt Moore even done? All right. And I'm going to go into it here to garner that kind of respect. This is like his Jesse Davis take if it was on quarterbacks. Sorry, Omar, I respect you and I like you, but you know how I felt about your Jesse Davis take. This is right there with it. Exactly, Joe Levesque. All 22 or nothing. That's what the motto on Phinside the NFL is. Keep up the great work, says John. I appreciate you, homie. So here's my thing. Okay, let's look at what has he done. Right? Matt Moore is a guy who he can come in mid games, and when the defense hasn't schemed for him, and he can just walk in and sling. Okay, he can give you something. But last I checked, and I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think I am. Last I checked, when we had that unicorn line, Laramie Tunsil, Pouncey, Brandon Albert, when we had that good line, right? We were a playoff team before Tannehill got hurt, okay? Jay Ajayi was, with no cartilage in his knee, was ripping it up. What up? Shout out to the homie Rhino. The god of the mod squad has shown up. Okay, so Jay Ajayi was ripping up its offensive line. Tannehill finally had a run game, finally had protection, and Tannehill was having the best year of his career, and then the knee injury happened. All right? And then what happened in Pittsburgh? What happened when we played the Pittsburgh Steelers? Okay? What happened when a playoff team could scheme for Matt Moore? It was embarrassing, and it was hard to watch. All right? Matt Moore did not lead us to the playoffs that year. All right? Because I saw Omar said, oh, well, they went to the playoffs with Matt Moore. Tannehill put in that offensive line, and Jay Ajayi led us to the playoffs that year. Matt Moore came in with only a couple games left in the season, cleaned it up, and then we got destroyed against the Steelers. Really? And then Omar said, I saw on Twitter when he spotted Nick Hicks, he said, well, I'm talking about I would take him for one game. If I had one game, I would take Matt Moore. If I had to build a franchise, I would take Tua. Brother, again, Omar, I respect you. I like you, bro. We text, I've texted you. We've texted back and forth before. Okay, so that's why when you said, no reason on Big O, you were lying through your teeth. Okay, number one, and I don't know why you're just trying to say face off me, but okay. Number two, come on, bro. That makes no sense. If you're gonna take one guy to build a franchise around, you're gonna take him for one game. That just makes no sense. This isn't, do I take LeBron for a full game or do I take Kobe Bryant for the fourth quarter, okay? We're talking about Tua Tagovailoa and Matt Moore. We're not talking about Kobe Bryant and LeBron James, all right? And I like Matt Moore. I got no problem with Matt Moore. Matt Moore is a guy, if you got to lean on him for 2 or 3 games, maybe he can go 2-1, or maybe he can go 1-1, or maybe he can catch defenses by the surprise and go 2-0. I'm not telling you his cell number. Fins up. Oh my God, I'm not. But this is. I mean, come on, man. In your heart of hearts, you can't truly believe this. You really can't. All right? Like, Matt Moore, let me put it this way. I don't think we would have won 8 of our last 9 with Matt Moore last year. I don't think we would have won 10 games in 2020 with Matt Moore. Because you know what Matt Moore was? Matt Moore was a worse Ryan Fitzpatrick. He was a gunslinger, but the guy, the boneheaded interceptions at the worst times. He's literally a poor man's Ryan Fitzpatrick. Come on. Now, if you want to say I want to take Fitzpatrick for one game over Tua for one game, that's much more of a conversation than Matt Moore for one game. Come on. And I still would take Tua over the game because of efficiency. I'm still going to get a bonehead pick with Fitzpatrick at the worst possible time when I don't need it. At least with Tua in that Atlanta game, he showed me that if he makes a couple boneheaded errors, he can pull me back in the fourth quarter and he can give me the lead and he can leave the field and let our best unit take care of it, albeit because of Flores' inept coaching in that game. Let's call it spade a spade. He got outcoached in the Atlanta and the Jags game in the final minutes, and that's why we lost. But Tua is shown, hey, boneheaded, I can still pull us out. Fitzpatrick and Moore are the type, when the boneheaded interceptions happen, the game's lost and they start piling up. At least Tua has shown he can dig himself out of a hole, man. Fitzpatrick and Matt Moore don't have that. If they're put in the hole, they're done. That's why they are either journeymen or backups. So, tough take, Omar. This one you're gonna have to go out on those Twitter streets and take on the chin, because this is a rough one, brother. This is a rough one. Doesn't mean I don't, like you or respect you anymore, but can't agree with this take, my friend. I vehemently disagree. All right? Like, I disagree to the chorus of cores with this statement. And so does our new franchise wide receiver who said 2 is 10 Matt Moores. And that's a guy who caught 150 yards and a touchdown in a game from Matt Moore. And even he's saying not in the same realm. Come on, Omar. Tyreek Hill is the reason why you should have kept this one to yourself. If you want my honest opinion, Tyreek Hill is the reason why you should have kept that to yourself. Really, let's be honest. Guys, smash that like button, subscribe if you're new. 330 of you in the room. Again, if you'd like to donate to the channel, paypal.me/Phinside. And I actually have a $24 donation from the homie Topher through PayPal. So appreciate you, Topher, my guy. Appreciate you for supporting the channel, my guy. It's a $25 donation, actually. But PayPal out here taking a fee. I appreciate you, Topher. Appreciate you, Mems, for your donations earlier, as well as Watch Mister. Listen, I don't expect donations from y'all. Just smash the like button, subscribe, share, watch the videos. That's good enough. That's support enough for me, people. You can also become a Patreon, patreon.com/Phinside the NFL. I had some breaking news during both days of mini camp. So, I had the offensive line struggles before they kind of became public, and Connor Williams was put out there. So go check it out, patreon.com/Phinside the NFL. I've been asking too what Patrons want in terms of exclusive content, because I want to get going on that for y'all. But I mean, a lot of information. Also become a channel member. Channel members are going to get the same exclusive content as Patreons, and it supports the channel, man. And then, save 15% off at Pick 6 Apparel. Use code Phinside the NFL. You guys see me drink out of those Tyreek Hill mugs, the Javon Holland mugs, the Tua mugs. I got them upstairs. They're being clean. But check them out, man. They're greatly priced without that discount. So go check them out. With that discount, man, it's going to be a steal. And I'm in Canada. Those ship from the UK. I got those within like 2 or 3 business days. So fast shipping, great price. They look snazzy. Go check out Pick 6 Apparel. They got coasters. They got everything over there that you can personalize, man. You can get any player on the Dolphins you want. Go check it out. Shout out to Rhino Sith for becoming a member once more. He's back, baby. He's back. All right, guys, let's get into what Chase Edmonds had to say, because again, here's the thing. So an issue I've had with this community, and it doesn't matter what platform you want to talk about with this community. Don't matter. Twitter, YouTube, whatever. It's the same shit. I got a real big issue with, when things are in negative light, when they're said by coaches, players, media, they got to be taken at face value. But when things are positive, when things are supportive, whether it's from a player, i.e. Tyreek, whether it's from the media, whatever, all of a sudden there's got to be a deeper reason. There's got to be a deeper issue. That can't be taken at face value. I've always had this issue. I've talked about this for quite some time. And to me, what players say always holds more weight than what the media says, because those are the guys in the building. Those are the guys who know what they're talking about. Those are the guys who either catch passes or defend the passes. Those are the guys who either run the football or block defenders or rush the quarterback. They know what they're talking about much more than anyone in the media that got their job because they know where to place the period, not because they know the game. All right? So when you hear Chase Edmonds talk about what he's going to talk about here, I really take it at face value, and I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to load up this clip right here. And I'm going to tell you why this is more concerning, why this is concerning, and why it should be taken at face value. So let's go ahead. Let me cue up this clip for you guys. By the way, shout out to Chase Edmonds for, being transparent, being open. I appreciate when players attach their names to quotes and stuff. Like when we had those anonymous players last year, talking about wasting time and blah, 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 but they wouldn't attach their name. That's coward stuff, man. So let's get into what he said here. All right. So this is what Chase Edmonds said about Tua Tagovailoa.
Tagovailoa is the answer for Miami. I think Tua gets an unfair judgment. I mean, that's how it is when you play quarterback. I think he kind of was put in some unfair situations the last 2 years. I think with Mike McDaniel, someone who's competent, someone who's going to have a good offensive scheme, we got weapons around him this year. It's going to be a lot easier. I'm going to say that you'll see the Alabama version of Tua that people remember. So I think he was just put in unfair situations his first 2 years.
Okay, that is a lot to unpack. Let's play it one more time from Chase Edmonds.
I do believe Tua Tagovailoa is the answer for Miami. I think Tua gets an unfair judgment. I mean, that's how it is when you play quarterback. I think he kind of was put in some unfair situations the last 2 years. I think with Mike McDaniel, someone who's competent, someone who's going to have a good offensive scheme, we got weapons around him this year. It's going to be a lot easier. I'm going to say that you'll see the Alabama version of Tua that people remember. So I think he was just put in unfair situations his first 2 years.
Look at my face right now. Look at my face right now. What did he say? First of all, let's start in the middle and work our way out. What did he say about Mike McDaniel? Someone who's competent. Someone who's competent. What have I been saying about our offensive staff? That they were incompetent. And now you got a player on the team basically saying, well, now we got someone who's offensively competent. The man literally just called offensively the last regime incompetent. Literally. The man used what I've been saying. He literally said, now we got someone that's competent. Let's go further. This man says, I think we're going to see Alabama Tua this year. Because this offense is much more easier. And, again, we go back to the competent comment. Mike McDaniel. And then you sit here and Chase Edmonds straight up saying, not only does he get unfair judgment because he's a quarterback, but the situation the last 2 years. That's Chase. You think Chase Edmonds hasn't come in and heard what happened in that locker room? Again, now we got new players coming in, and you got to read between the lines, but they're telling you without telling you. Another player coming in basically saying, well, they didn't have a competent offensive staff last year, so that'll be better for Tua. And Tua's situation the last 2 years was unfair to him. What do you think he's talking about? You think he's talking about Ross and Greer? Or do you think he's talking about his relationship with Brian Flores and what Chase Edmonds has heard from players who were on the team last year since he's entered that locker room? That's literally Chase Edmonds telling you, yeah, I've heard it was not a good situation the last 2 years here. Blah, 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 blah. Like, that's that transparency, man. Those are the things. You don't need to take the Alabama 2 at face value. But when you take the competent coaching staff and the unfair situation, the last 2 years, those two specific comments, take those at face value. Because locker rooms talk. Man, I'm not sitting here overhyping we're gonna get Alabama to. I love it, baby. Let's go, baby. I'm hyped on the inside, but I ain't overhyping it to you guys. But what I will focus in on, zero in on, is him basically saying, well, now he's got a competent staff offensively, and the kid was in an unfair situation the last 2 years. Those I will zero in on. Because those need to be listened to and those need to resonate. Because this is a new player. This is someone coming in who's heard it from everyone in the locker room. So when new players are hearing it, imagine what the guys who have been there the last 2 years got to say. Imagine what they see. That's what's even more interesting about it too. Now you sit there and you think to yourself, man, what the hell were they saying to Chase Edmonds? That's what I start thinking about. What were they saying to Chase Edmonds? What? Now, man, I wish I was a fly on the wall. I swear to God. Because that is super interesting that a new player, because let's call a spade a spade. The competent comment is a swipe at the past regime. That's exactly what that is. That is a swipe at the past regime. And we would see, it's a lot more understandable when the guys played under the last regime, but it's really eye-opening when it's a guy who didn't, because it makes you think, what the hell was he hearing and what have they said to this guy? What really went on? It must be even worse than we thought. and what we've heard so far, things I've been told, things we've seen that I've reported to you guys. Because remember, I've been reporting this stuff since last summer, stuff that we read in articles. It must be even worse if new players are basically coming in and throwing the old regime under the bus. That is crazy to me. Crazy, man. So, when you actually start thinking in those avenues about the situation, that's what starts to blow minds a little bit. It's like, man, what the hell were they saying to Chase Edmonds? Because he ain't coming away saying that just from a film study, ladies and gentlemen. All right. That ain't just from sitting in the film room and watching film. All right. He wasn't throwing the offensive line under the bus. Let me tell you all that. He was not throwing the offensive line when he's talking about the unfair situation. So, man, kind of just crazy to me. It was kind of crazy to me when I saw that. Let's keep it rolling, though. So, continuing on. By the way, shout out to the homie. I will play it one more time for y'all. One more time.
I do believe Tua Tagovailoa is the answer for Miami. I think Tua gets the unfair judgment. I mean, that's how it is when you play quarterback. I think he kind of was put in some unfair situations the last 2 years. I think with Mike McDaniel, someone who's competent, someone who's going to have a good offensive scheme. We got weapons around him this year.
Bro, and he made sure to say someone who's competent, and then he talked about the offensive scheme. Oh, boy.
It's going to be a lot easier. I'm going to say that you'll see the Alabama version of Tua that people remember. So I think he was just put in unfair situations his first 2 years.
Man. That is more damning than people are going to give it credit for. Another indictment of our past regime. So Patrick Mahomes was surprised by Tyreek's comments on usage after the Dolphins trade. Miami Dolphins receiver Tyreek Hill believes he was underutilized by the Kansas City Chiefs and will be playing with a more accurate quarterback next season in Tua Tagovailoa. Suffice to say, those comments were eye-opening to Patrick Mahomes. I'm surprised a little just because I felt like we love Tyreek here. We've always loved him. We still love him, Mahomes told reporters Thursday. I saw him out at Formula One in Miami and everything like that, but I'm sure it had something to do with trying to get his podcast some stuff, get it rolling. But definitely I still love Tyreek. He's a one-of-a-kind player. But as you know, in Coach Reid's offense, it takes the whole team. This offense was rolling before I got here. This offense was rolling when I was a young Cowboys fan watching the Eagles beat up on the Cowboys. So, I mean, it's an offense that's more than one player, and that includes myself. So, he does have a point. Obviously, he's got to say stuff, and he talked about the trade and everything regarding the Kansas City situation for clicks, and to help launch his podcast, I'm sure. But here's again, Patrick. He never said Tua was better than you. He chose your arm strength over Tua. He just said Tua was more accurate. And basically, he was kind of talking about ball placement. That's all he was really talking about. Saying he places the ball more where he wants it. I mean, who the hell are any of us to call them liars? And again, see, I really think they're trying to turn this into a Mahomes and Reid versus Tyreek thing. When you listen to Rosenhaus and Tyreek, they were more so coming at the general manager in Kansas City. How many times did Tyreek say, I love Patrick Mahomes, I love Andy Reid? Like, he made sure to say that multiple times. So, I think this is getting way blown out of proportion. I really do. I think this is becoming way too big of a story. So Patrick responds. I'm sure Tyreek's going to say something on his next episode regarding all of the pushback he received. Right? And Larry makes a great point. Notice how Mahomes, this is a great point, Larry. I didn't even think about this one. Kudos to you. Notice Mahomes responded to usage, but not the accuracy. Because, Larry, people forget, and I know you don't, people forget Mahomes had nothing but fantastic things to say about Tua Tagovailoa after they faced off as a rookie. He even said that he wished he had Tua's poise as a rookie because he didn't have that kind of poise as a rookie and that kind of pocket presence as a rookie. Not now. I'm talking about as a rookie, Mahomes said, So Mahomes has even bigged up Tua. Mahomes has even said great things about Tua Tagovailoa. You know what I mean? But like no one wants to really talk about that. Mahomes has good things to say about Tua. But great point, Larry. Great point. He only addressed the usage. He did not address the accuracy. And again, I think the whole thing that the usage was, I think Tyreek felt like him and Mahomes could have done more in terms of Mahomes has a bigger arm than being the number one guy at throwing at or behind the line of scrimmage in the NFL last year, which is what he was. That's all. Again, I don't think that was a knock on Mahomes. I think that was, open me and Mahomes up more. We can do more things. I think Mahomes is the best natural thrower of the football since Aaron Rodgers came into the league. And I'm sure Tyreek does too. And Tyreek's probably just like, yo, stop this stuff at or behind the line of scrimmage. Let's start challenging defenses as an offense. That was probably frustrating. That's probably what he was talking about. I would love to ask Tyreek that directly because I guarantee you that's what he was talking about. The majority of the stuff coming at the line of scrimmage. That's what he probably meant. He's probably saying, I can blow past these guys on short, intermediate, and deep levels. Stop pigeonholing me. It's the same reason why we're getting frustrated with how they're using Jalen Waddle for the first 9 games. He was literally Jarvis Landry within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage last year for the first 9 games. Purely just a possession receiver. And then it was nothing but, triangle, box, or bracketed coverage where the defense would just collapse on him as soon as he got the ball. And it's only like 5 yards, 3 yards, 4 yards downfield. So, anyways, great little segment on Sirius XM radio that I wanted to go over with you guys. Actually, one of the more objective media conversations I've heard. So let's go over this.
Today, Timmy.
So this
How you doing, guys?
Good.
Hey, good to talk with
We're
you.
doing great.
Pod on Sirius XM.
Good to talk with you. Hey, I heard that you'd said with Miami, the running back, you gave them a 17, and I don't know if that was at the top or close to the top in the AFC
score.
East.
They grade off score points at position.
Oh, I'll give you the scores in the East.
Yeah.
Here they go. 15 Buffalo, 15, 16, 17 for you guys. Next one down, New England. They weren't in that range. They were at 15 and 16 at, they're pretty similar groups. But Miami, I think at the end of it, stands out as the best of the group there.
You came in
God
in the
forbid
top.
we ever mentioned you with Cleveland or Indianapolis.
Yeah, you did come in the top 10, though. You came in the top 10 for your running back position.
Right.
I think I had you
wide
6th overall.
I didn't hear the wide receiver. I didn't hear the wide receiver score that you gave.
Hold on a second. Miami wide receivers are big time. 18.
18.
They're going to be they have a very good chance to be in the top 5.
Yeah. So then, running backs look great. Wide receivers look great. Offensive line, they've put now, the report is that Connor Williams is going to play center. I don't understand that, but I guess they've got a reason for it. But I don't understand that.
Well, let's start with they don't like their center. Because why would you move a guy that's never played center to center unless you were nervous about the center who started last year?
Yeah.
And it could be a camp. It could be a spring experiment. We see this stuff all the time. We go to camp August 5th and the guy's back at guard. I mean, that could easily happen.
Sure. Well, and the defense looks great. I mean, from what I read, what I see, and everything's pretty much been tacked, and they've added more parts to that. So the defense looks good. So then, would you not agree that this all boils down to Tua's?
I know where you're going.
Yeah.
Which depends on the offensive line's performance.
Correct.
So
I mean, it can sound the same thing it was last year.
Exactly.
well,
They're better, though. They're a better team right now.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
See, what have I been telling you guys? Yes, this is a put up or shut up year for Tua, but he only going to go as far as that offensive line about to take him. And we are one injury away to, knock on wood, Connor Williams or Terron Armstead from being in the exact same position as last year.
You're going to you're going to go with it's going to be the run scheme and the quick passing attack. All right, because that's what the 49ers do, and a lot of bootlegs off of the run game action. So he's got to get the ball out of his hands. And some of those, he doesn't even have to throw the ball down the field. You'll be throwing wide receiver. He'll be throwing wide receiver screens to Tyreek Hill for 15-yard gains.
Yeah.
He's not even one-step drops. Not even that.
They've done a lot of things to insulate him, protect him, and let him function like a winner. I mean, they've spent an awful lot of their resources to surround him. So this is why I said to you the last time you called, it's kind of like this is the year he has to deliver. He can't have another, I'm a learning guy. No.
Yeah, right.
You got to go and you got to win playoff games now.
You got to get to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Well, if you don't, what do you think the owner's going to do?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's no doubt. Now,
I don't think, by the way, I don't think getting to the playoffs is enough. I think they got to win at least one round in the playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah.
The money that he's dropping to make this thing look like a real team.
You should win one game in the playoffs.
You know, doesn't it look more and more like the owner wanted Tua, and now he'll do whatever it takes to make sure Tua is good.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if the owner wanted Tua or not wanted Tua. I don't know who.
Okay, see, I don't agree with that. What they're doing is they're setting it up where if Tua doesn't work this year, they can slot in the next guy and they can keep the train moving. That's what they're doing, which is smart.
Wanted Tua, but now what I question is now we got, and I think it was Mike Florio that floated this thing out there last week. That Lamar Jackson, that Miami should start looking at getting Lamar Jackson to come in place of Tua.
What did I tell you guys? Guys, I told you back in March and February that Lamar Jackson to Miami was going to become a legitimate story. I had this before anyone. I was telling you guys that there was real smoke to this on Lamar's end, not on the Dolphins' end, but Stephen Ross was intrigued to watch it because Stephen Ross wanted him in the draft, former MVP. Ross gets starry-eyed with big names and jersey sales and such. I warned you guys about this in freaking February, March, before anyone had it, and here we are. And it's starting to come out. Lamar has been a topic for the past couple weeks on platforms, in the media, wherever. And I told you all about this back in February, March.
I don't know if you saw that report or heard that thing.
Well, it's not a report. It's a speculation, and there's a big difference. We say things like, they should go get this guy. You know what? They should get Sue right now. The Steelers should get Sue. That's not a report.
Yeah,
so
okay.
At the end of the day, why would Baltimore move on from Lamar? They're going to put a franchise tag on him if they can't get a deal done.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But I think all those kind of things just, again, make that cloud around Tua again, that you're not. Let's see what we can do. I mean, it's way too early. Everything's on paper right now, and we haven't played a game yet. So
at least for this show, we could ask you the question: how do you think he's going to do?
Again, I think it's going to depend on that offensive line.
Yeah, and
if the offensive line.
Well, even there,
the offensive line gives him time. If it gives him time, I think he'll be okay.
Well,
but if it's like last year, I don't think they will be as good as last year.
Well, they dumped all their money into their offense, including their offensive line, where they have multiple first-round draft picks as well. All right, you paid over $70 million for Terron Armstead.
which was good.
So Tua's got to produce.
So I'll ask Jimmy this question on your behalf. Jim, it's easy to say, well, the line has to do their job for Tua to be great. But how about Tua does his job so the line's protected?
Yeah. I mean, the quarterback can make the O-line look good, too, by negotiating things.
Hold on a sec. And he did. See, that's the thing. Listen, these guys had over 280 pressures, and go look at Tua's sack numbers. Tua's pocket presence drove down these sack numbers massively relative to the pressure numbers. Any other quarterback, go look at Burrow with his hot reads last year. Burrow would have been killed behind this offensive line last year. All right? Tua's pocket presence and maneuverability in the pocket actually protected them from having higher sack numbers against. The thing is, Tua can't help pressure numbers because that's their job. He can help with sacks, with elite pocket presence, which he has. But, what has he got to block the guys too?
Blitzes come, throw hot. They're going to do a lot of run after the catch. Go watch film of Jimmy Garoppolo last year. Dude, they'd be in 3rd and 15, and they're running slant routes. Slants.
Well, that's what I figure. It's going to be a lot of that. It's going to be jet sweeps. It's going to be the short passes to Tyreek Hill, to Jalen Waddle, and they're going to try to have yak after that, and that's really where it comes to. And but I think Tua will be fine. We just have to see what transpires.
Can he match wits with Josh Allen head to head?
He can't match athletic traits with Josh Allen. That's what the issue is.
It's going to come down to that, isn't it? Because if he doesn't do that, he won't win the division. He'll get into the playoffs maybe, and it'll be. See,
this is another thing I talked about. I don't like I get it because we got to sell it, Tua versus Josh Allen, but it's not Tua versus Josh Allen. It's Tua Tagovailoa versus the Buffalo Bills defense and their staff, and Josh Allen against our defense and Boyer and company. It's not Josh Allen against Tua Tagovailoa. It's Josh Allen versus our defense and Tua Tagovailoa versus their defense. See, I get we got to sell quarterback matchups for ratings and clicks and all that jazz, but let's call everything what it really is here. Let's be objective. These guys got to beat defenses, not each other. Tua Tagovailoa doesn't play Josh Allen. He plays the Buffalo Bills defense. Just like Josh Allen doesn't play Tua Tagovailoa, he plays the Miami Dolphins defense. He's got to beat X and Byron and Emmanuel Ogbah and Jalen Phillips. Those are the guys he's got to beat. Just like Tua. Tua's got to beat Hyde, Poyer, White, etc., etc.
Be a road game.
Right.
So we do this with lots of teams. You know what? They need to win the division. Minnesota, you got to win the division to get anywhere.
And let me continue to be objective on that point for a sec. Our defense shut Josh Allen down the second time last year. It was our offense was stagnant, and let's be honest. Let's call a spade here. All right? McDermott owned Flores when it came to coaching. Their staff always outcoached us.
Where?
Right.
You can't keep letting Green Bay have the home games all the time.
Exactly. Yeah. They've got to at least split with Buffalo. They've got to do. They've got to do that.
I think we will.
I don't know if they'll do it or not. But
guys, this is a better offense, and we haven't. And Tua's never lost to New England. He's never lost to the Jets. I stick by we are 5-1 we should be 5-1 in the division this year. I stand on that. I
think the team is. I think like you said, all the parts are there. It's just now.
I will say this to you: I didn't really feel comfortable with firing the coach and all that business. I thought, hey, that was wrong. But this young guy you hired, when Jim and I got done interviewing him and we spent some live time with him, I was intrigued by the guy. I don't know. Mm-hmm. He's so different from any coach I've ever known or interviewed. I just think he has a chance to be. He's quirky and different style, but I think players really like him. So we'll see how far they go with him.
And he knows the kind of guys they were targeting on offense. That's where they dumped all their money. You're bringing the San Francisco run scheme. You're going to do a boatload of bootlegs. You're going to do the short passing game, and you're going to do play action when you want to take shots, if your run game is respected.
See, and the reason why they keep mentioning the bootleg, right, and I've tried to explain to you guys just like in basic terms what the goal of this offense is going to be. You're going to try and create the flow of the game to one side, and then that's where you hit them with false keys and bootlegs to the opposite side, and you catch the defense sleeping, and you open them up, right? This run scheme is all about setting up the flow of the game to one side and setting up keys for false keys later on.
So, Connor Williams, yeah, that's a big deal, him moving to center. We'll see if it works out. Otherwise, Dieter will be back in there.
Oh.
Yeah, and I'll say this. If you're really the first round quarterback you're supposed to be, you win games when the run game isn't there. You win games when the line's having a hard time blocking. You have to, at some point, the quarterback can't just be,
Okay, and I agree with you. There are games where you're going to have to win where the run game ain't going, which, I mean, every win Tua's had, minus a few, the run game wasn't going. So he's proven that. When the offensive line ain't going, every win Tua has minus what, 1 or 2, the offensive line wasn't going. So he's proven that. But even the best of the best need help. This is why the homie ball game always says this is the most dependent position in the game. And, you go back to Mahomes. Mahomes is the best natural thrower of the football since Aaron Rodgers. But look what happened when he had no offensive line against Tampa in the Super Bowl for everyone to see. When he had a bunch of jabronis and a bunch of fillers and a bunch of fodder, he was running for his freaking life.
A caretaker. He's got to be hey, we're having a hard time. We can't block these guys today.
Yeah, he's got to make a few difference-making
plays.
See, the problem is that what you just said, hey, we're having a hard time blocking these guys today. That was every day. That was like 98% of Tua's career to this point has been, hey, we're having a problem blocking these guys today. Carolina game. Remember how good Carolina was? They were a top 5 defense. They were a top 5 passing defense. They were top 5 total defense, top 5 passing defense, top 5 rushing defense. Tua, 27 of 31, 270 yards, 1 touchdown, no interception, but he had 2 fumbles. Why? A botched snap from the offensive line, and Dieter let a man arc him out wide right off the snap, and from the blind side, he stripped Tua right off the sack. Tua didn't even have 2 seconds to respond or maneuver. So, and we won that game. We put up 33 points. The defense was out of this world, but we won that game.
Yeah. I mean, I go back to that Super Bowl with Flacco, when they beat San Francisco. Go look at the plays him and Anquan Bolden were making. I mean,
first of all, Flacco was on a historic run in the playoffs at that point. The guy had, 12 or 13 touchdowns to no interceptions on that playoff run? He was out of his mind. That was the best football. That run was the best football Flacco ever played as a professional player. And then, do I need to talk about how good and how big of a stud Anquan Bolden was going back to Arizona? So you had a quarterback playing out of his mind, the best football of his career on that Super Bowl run, And you had Anquan Bolden, a legitimate stud.
Made 3 to 4 big plays that really turned that game for Baltimore.
That's Super Bowl.
And what is that talking about? That 3 or 4 plays that turn a game. That's that efficiency I keep telling you guys about. Keep your highlight throws. Keep your 60, 70, 80-yard bombs. I want elite efficiency. Give me a guy who's going to dice you up on the short to intermediate level. And then the 3, 4, 5 throws that present themselves, he's going to make them to swing the momentum in our favor and help determine the outcome in our favor while protecting the football. That is literally the recipe. Add in elite accuracy and a high football IQ. That is literally Tom Brady's 6th Super Bowl recipe. Give me that. Keep your cannons. Give me elite efficiency.
On that boundary side, on the Baltimore side, in a clutch moment.
Anyways, they're going to talk about that for the rest of it. But, I get it, what they're saying. But at the same point, let's be realistic here. Tua's won games with bad protection. Tua's won games with, a minimal amount of weapons. All right? Tua's made a career of winning games with no run game. I mean, hell, number 1 RPO quarterback last year, yet we were missing the first letter in RPO until Duke arrived. So Tua's made a career so far of polishing turds into gold bricks when he can. There's just only so much a young quarterback in the NFL can really do. Especially a guy who's got an inept offensive staff around him. Only so much. Okay, so Greg Cosell, I got 2 different portions of the Ross Tucker podcast I want to look over here. Greg Cosell was on the Ross Tucker podcast, and he talked about our draft class on one day, and then he came back and he talked about Tyreek and the whole situation, but he talked about McDaniel and Tyreek and how he sees it working out. So let's start off. I want to show you guys exactly what he said about our draft class, and then we're going to get into what Cosell actually had to say in regards to Tyreek and how he sees him being utilized by Mike McDaniel in this offense. All right. And this is on the draft class.
Let's move on to the New England Patriots. I should mention, by the way, I'm sorry. Let's move on actually to the Miami Dolphins. But I should mention, for those of you that love this, we do something very similar on the college draft with Emory Hunt. And Emory focuses on the late
Emory Hunt does great stuff. Check him on Twitter.
The undrafted free agent. So it really complements what Greg does here very well. Looking at the Miami Dolphins, Greg, with the Tyreek Hill trade, Jalen Waddle trade, no first or second round picks. So their first pick was in the 3rd round, Channing Tindall, the linebacker from Georgia.
Yeah, I liked him a lot. Georgia obviously had 3 linebackers.
Remember, Greg Cosell, one of the best out there breaking down film.
In the 1st round, we know that Kobe Dean went to the Eagles in the 3rd round. I really like Channing Tindall. I thought he was a really intriguing player. They used him quite a bit as an edge pass rusher at Georgia, and he was a very good pass rusher. They also used him as a blitzer. He's 6'2", 230. I think that he has a really kind of low-cut, compact, athletic frame. I thought there was some explosiveness to his movement. He was compact and coiled. I like this kid. It'll be interesting to see how they see him in the context of their defense. Obviously, it's a new staff. But I think Tindall, the way he was used at Georgia, he was a stack backer with run and hit traits. He was a pass rusher, both as a 2nd-level player and lining him up on the ball on the edge. So I'm very curious to see how he is deployed in the Dolphins defense.
And remember, when I did my prospect preview of him, I said, I see him maybe chewing into Landon Roberts snaps by the end of the season, but for the first half of it, I see him giving guys like Brennan Scarlett. I see him maybe taking, Duke Riley's playing out of his mind, but maybe he takes some Duke Riley snaps as well. I see him kind of playing maybe in those roles a little bit more. And then, you see how they've been moving, Brendan Scarlett around and such so far at camp. So, man, I'm really excited. I think Tyndall is our Mike in a couple years, but, I think he's going to get a lot of different kinds of usage this year because they're just going to try and get him snaps.
Taking a look at the rest of their draft, in the 4th round, Eric Ezukanma, wide receiver from Texas Tech. 7th round, they took Cameron Good, outside linebacker from California, and Skylar Thompson, the quarterback from Kansas State. Always a little bit, it's a 7th round pick, but still a little interesting with a new head coach there to take a quarterback like Thompson. What jumps out to you about any of those guys?
I think Ezukanma was an interesting guy to me. Big, 6'2", 210, location versatility within the formation. I thought there was a smooth, fluid feel to his movement. He lined up outside and in the slot. He lined up in the backfield. I'm not going to sit here and suggest that he's Deebo Samuel, but obviously we know Mike McDaniel is the new head coach, and Ezukanma does have
Eric Ezukanma offers you a lot, though.
Lining up in the backfield.
Yeah.
So just keep that in mind. Again, he's a 4th round pick, so we don't know what any of that means, but he has done that. And he had really strong run after catch traits when he looked like a running back with his competitiveness.
Go back to my prospect preview
and his contact balance.
Ridiculous.
He gained hard yards after contact.
And he's not a burner. That's what was impressive.
On to the New England Patriots.
That was most impressive about Eric Ezukanma when you broke down his film was he wasn't a 4.3 guy, but the yards after the catch that he offered you was unbelievable. It was so appealing. You get the appeal. It totally makes sense. And then this is what Greg Cosell had to say about the Tyreek Hill, Mike McDaniel connection.
I totally agree. The second part of that question, how do you think Mike McDaniel and the Dolphins will use him? Or maybe how do you think they'll use him differently, perhaps, than he was used in KC?
I think in some ways he'll be a different body type version of Deebo Samuel, because Tua and Jimmy Garoppolo are very similar style quarterbacks. So it would not surprise me to see Tyreek Hill, who, by the way, was used an awful lot in motion in Kansas City. At times he motioned in the backfield, didn't necessarily end up there, but he would motion to where he was in the backfield and then do something else. So it would not surprise me to see Tyreek Hill in some ways used as a different body type version of Deebo Samuel within the context of Mike McDaniel's offense.
Interesting.
Yeah, and see, I agree with that to an extent. I know a lot of us, we hate the whole, we got to find a Deebo type thing, but there's going to be a lot of motion in this offense, a lot of tight stuff as well, a lot of condensed stuff, and I do see them using him like that to not only help, show coverages and help him with his release, but just in general, that's what we want. We want to see a lot of motion, not only pre-snap, but we want to see some motion at the snap. That's really going to help us set up our false keys in this offense to really catch defenses, off the back of their heels, really put them on the back of the heels too. That's, when you can start getting them to bite on those false keys with, false steps and such, that's when you really start to make people pay. McVay, Baltimore Ravens did it against him a couple years ago, and then McVay, after that, and he saw that, the Rams became the number 2 team in the NFL at motioning at the snap, and that's when you saw their run game become revitalized 2 years ago, and they've been using it ever since. So, I think it's going to be really, really key for us to set up our false keys, and I do see him getting usage out of the backfield with Tyreek, but I think the reason why they added like a guy like Eric Ezukanma, the reason why they added a guy like that, like him to the whole thing is because, Tyreek's still a small frame. You're not going to put Deebo usage on that Tyreek frame because you're just going to wear it down. Right? So I think they're trying, you can give some of those reps to Waddle. You can give some of those reps to Eric Ezukanma when he comes on the field. Like, that's why they're doing it. They're trying to spread these reps out because, he's not built like Deebo Samuel. He's just not. So, all right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. I appreciate each and every one of you for coming through for episode 499. The next one up is episode 500. I've got a couple little fish lines out there, just waiting for a bite to see if we can get something special for episode 500. But if some like crazy news breaks and we got to go live, then hey, we got to go live. But we're working on something for episode 500. See if any one of these things I put out there come to fruition. Hopefully they do. But I'm gonna look to see. I'll probably be back on either Sunday or Monday with episode 500. Unless again, if something breaks huge tomorrow, then I will be back. And we'll find a way to add in the episode 500 celebration. Another thing, David Furones is going to be coming on the show probably next week. Just got to check back in on him and confirm the date. But David Furones will be on. Verone McKinley, that prospect preview will be coming as soon as episode 500 is done. And then we'll be doing a Tyreek Hill film study on how he's going to fit into this offense, especially with everything we've been talking about lately. I think that's something we should dive into. So we got a lot of stuff coming your guys' way over the next couple weeks. I appreciate I see, Ryan was out here tonight. I appreciate each and every one of you guys for coming out and spending some of your Thursday night with me. Man, we're end of July, training camp kicks up. Can't wait to get back into it, guys. I cannot wait to get back into it. So I appreciate each and every one of you for coming out. I love each and every one of you. Be safe. Be healthy. Be happy. And I will see you on the next one. As always, guys, you already know what time it is. All day, every day, ain't never going to change. Fins all the way up, every other team down, baby. You already know what it is. I will see y'all on the next one. Take it easy, guys.